A secret alliance shatters when the White King Kong, once humanity's hope, turns against Red Hulk in the heat of war. The Black King Kong rises stronger than ever, wielding stolen science to enslave both man and beast. Red Hulk is forced to fight on two fronts, against his sworn enemy and his former ally. Betrayal cuts deeper than claws, and the jungle becomes a graveyard of trust. The final battle will decide not just the fate of the jungle, but the survival of mankind itself. The rain came down in sheets, drumming against the canopy like war drums. Deep in the jungle, far from any human settlement, Red Hulk moved silently through the undergrowth. His massive frame was hunched, his breathing controlled. He wasn't here to fight, not yet. He was here to meet someone. A shadow moved ahead, parting the mist. The White King Kong stepped into view, his pristine fur glistening with rain. His golden eyes locked on Red Hulk's, and for a moment, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. "You came," the White King rumbled. "You asked," Red Hulk replied. The enemy they shared. The Black King Kong's reign had grown worse. Villages burned. Hunters vanished. Even the government's elite strike teams had been torn apart. The White King had approached Red Hulk in secret, offering an alliance. "He's not just my enemy," the White King had said. "He's a threat to every living thing in this jungle." Red Hulk had agreed, but only because he believed the White King's hatred for the Black King was real. The plan? They would strike at dawn, hitting the Black King's camp before his army could march. The White King would lead Red Hulk through hidden jungle paths, bypassing the sentries. But there was something in the White King's eyes tonight, a flicker of something Red Hulk couldn't place. The Black King's camp. Far away, the Black King Kong sat on a throne of bones, his massive frame lit by the glow of burning torches. Beside him stood Dr. Varek, a scientist even more ruthless than Zoran. Varek held a vial of shimmering red liquid. "One dose will make you unstoppable," he promised. The Black King grinned, his teeth like ivory daggers. "Then give me 10. The march." Red Hulk and the White King moved through the jungle like ghosts. The White King's two lieutenants, a scarred silver-furred female named Sura and a hulking brown-furred male named Brack, followed close behind. They reached a ridge overlooking the Black King's camp. Fires burned below. Warriors feasted. "We go in quiet," the White King whispered. Red Hulk nodded, but his instinct screamed that something was wrong. The first strike. They descended into the camp, moving between shadows. Red Hulk took out the first guard with a silent chokehold. Sura and Brack slipped into the tents, cutting down sentries before they could raise the alarm. Then, a roar split the night. The Black King was awake. The trap. From all sides, black-furred warriors poured in. Red Hulk fought like a hurricane, his fists breaking bones, his roars shaking the air. But when he turned to call for the White King, he wasn't there. Instead, the White King stood beside the Black King, his golden eyes cold. "You think I would kneel to humans?" the White King snarled. "I will rule this jungle, not as your ally, but as your conqueror." The betrayal hit harder than any blow. The escape. Red Hulk fought his way out, blood streaming from a dozen wounds. He crashed through the jungle, the White King's roar echoing behind him. He didn't stop until the fires of the Black King's camp were just a glow on the horizon. His alliance was gone, his enemy had doubled, and the war had just become impossible to win. The jungle was never still. Even in the dead of night, it breathed with the rustle of leaves, the distant calls of unseen predators, and the low hum of life hidden beneath the canopy. But tonight, the jungle's heartbeat was different. It was faster, louder, like the drumbeat before a war. Red Hulk crouched on a moss-covered ridge, his massive hands gripping the earth. His body still ached from the ambush 2 nights ago. The betrayal replayed in his mind like a wound that refused to close. The White King's golden eyes, cold and unblinking, as he stood beside the Black King. He had trusted him, and in the jungle, trust was rarer than mercy. The hunt for answers. Red Hulk had spent the last 48 hours moving through the jungle like a ghost, avoiding patrols, listening to whispers in the dark. The Black King's army was on the move, not in scattered raids like before, but in a single, massive migration. And the White King was with them. He had seen them from a distance earlier that day. The Black King at the front, his armored limb gleaming in the sunlight, and the White King walking just behind him, flanked by his lieutenants Sura and Brack. The sight had twisted something in Red Hulk's chest. Was it rage? Or was it the bitter taste of being played? The Village of Ashes. By midday, Red Hulk reached the outskirts of a human village. Or what was left of it? The huts were nothing but charred skeletons. The air was thick with the stench of smoke and blood. A woman sat in the dirt, clutching the lifeless body of a child, her eyes empty. Red Hulk approached slowly. Who did this? Her voice was barely a whisper. 2 kings, 1 black, 1 white. The white one, he spoke to us, told us to run. But when we did, his soldiers came from the other side. Red Hulk's jaw tightened. This wasn't just betrayal, it was strategy. The White King hadn't joined the Black King out of fear. He had joined him to win. The War Council. That night, deep in the jungle, the Black King's camp roared with life. Fires burned high, casting monstrous shadows on the trees. Warriors feasted on stolen meat, their roars echoing into the night. At the center, the Black King sat on his throne of bones. Beside him, the White King stood silent, his expression unreadable. Dr. Varric stepped forward, holding a large metal case. The serum is ready. Enough for 50 of your strongest. The Black King's grin was pure malice. Then tomorrow, we march on the city. The White King's gaze flickered, just for a moment, toward the firelight. If anyone had been watching closely, they might have seen the shadow of doubt in his eyes. But no one was watching. The first strike. Red Hulk didn't wait for them to come to him. At dawn, he hit a forward patrol. 6 black-furred warriors and one of the White King's lieutenants, Brack. The fight was brutal. Red Hulk's fists shattered ribs, his roars scattering the smaller apes. But Brack was a mountain of muscle, and the two clashed like titans. In the end, Red Hulk drove Brack into a tree so hard the trunk split in 2. The lieutenant collapsed, unconscious. Red Hulk stood over him, breathing hard. Tell your kings, I'm coming. The city prepares. By midday, Red Hulk reached the outskirts of the human city. The military was already mobilizing, tanks rolling through the streets, helicopters thundering overhead. General Hassan, a broad-shouldered man with a scar across his cheek, met him at the gates. We've heard the reports. 2 kings, 1 army. If they reach us, we won't hold. Red Hulk's voice was low. Then we don't let them reach you. The march of the 2 kings. By nightfall, the Black King's army was on the move again. The ground shook with their steps. The jungle seemed to bend away from them. At the front, the Black King roared commands. The White King walked beside him, silent, his eyes scanning the trees. Sura, the silver-furred lieutenant, leaned toward him. You should have killed the red one when you had the chance. The White King didn't answer, but his jaw tightened. The clash at Blood River. The 2 armies met at the Blood River, a wide, fast-moving torrent that marked the last natural barrier before the city. Red Hulk stood on the far bank, the human military behind him. Tanks lined the shore. Soldiers aimed heavy machine guns at the tree-line. The Black King stepped forward, his armored arm gleaming. Move, Red One, or be buried here. Red Hulk's answer was a roar. The battle exploded. The chaos of war. The Black King's warriors charged into the river, the water churning around them. Bullets tore through the air, cutting down the first wave, but the serum-enhanced apes kept coming. Red Hulk waded into the water, meeting them head-on. His fists were hammers, his roars thunder. And then, the White King was there. They locked eyes across the chaos. For a moment, the world narrowed to just the 2 of them. Then the White King charged. The duel. The river became their arena. Fists crashed against flesh. Water exploded around them. You could have been my ally, Red Hulk growled. I could have been your king, the White King snarled back. They fought like gods, each blow shaking the riverbed. But the Black King's army was pushing through, and the human lines were breaking. The turning point. A tank exploded on the shore, the blast throwing soldiers into the air. The Black King roared in triumph, his army surging forward. Red Hulk knew they couldn't hold. Not like this. He broke away from the White King, charging toward the Black King himself. But the White King grabbed him from behind, slamming him into the water. "You don't get to end this," the White King hissed. "Retreat." The humans fell back, dragging their wounded. Red Hulk fought his way to the shore, blood streaming from a dozen wounds. The Black King's roar followed him into the night. "Run, Red One. Tomorrow, the city burns." The city had never been this quiet. Not even during the curfews, not even during the blackouts. It was the kind of silence that came before a storm, the kind that made even the bravest soldiers check their weapons twice. From the rooftop of the tallest government building, Red Hulk scanned the horizon. The jungle loomed in the distance, a dark wall of green. Somewhere beyond that wall, two kings were marching toward him. The betrayal still burned his chest. The White King's golden eyes haunted him, not because they were cold, but because they had once been warm. The calm before the fire. General Hassan's voice crackled in Red Hulk's earpiece. "Scouts report movement at the eastern perimeter. Big movement." Red Hulk's jaw tightened. "How long?" "An hour. Maybe less." The streets below were lined with barricades, overturned buses, sandbag walls, and steel spikes welded into the asphalt. Tanks crouched behind them like predators waiting to pounce. Civilians had been evacuated to underground shelters. The city was now a fortress. But Red Hulk knew fortresses could fall. The March of the Two Kings. In the jungle, the Black King Kong's army moved like a living tide. Serum-enhanced warriors pounded the earth with every step, their roars echoing through the trees. At the front, the Black King strode like a god of war, his armored limb gleaming in the filtered sunlight. Beside him, the White King moved in silence, his expression unreadable. Sura, the silver-furred lieutenant, leaned toward him. "When the walls fall, the city is yours to burn." The White King didn't answer. His eyes flicked toward the distant skyline. The first impact. The attack began with a sound like thunder. A massive tree trunk, hurled from the jungle, smashed into the outer barricade, splintering steel and concrete. Then the apes came. They poured into the streets, smashing through cars, leaping onto rooftops, tearing down anything in their path. Bullets tore through the air, cutting down the first wave, but the serum-enhanced warriors kept coming. Red Hulk dropped from the rooftop into the chaos, landing like a meteor. His fists were hammers, his roars a battle cry. The White King strike. Through the smoke, the White King appeared. He moved with terrifying precision, tearing through soldiers, flipping armored vehicles, and ripping mounted guns from their turrets. Red Hulk charged him, their collision sending shockwaves down the street. "You could have stood with me." Red Hulk roared. "I'm standing where I belong," the White King snarled. They fought between burning cars, each blow shattering glass and denting steel. But the White King wasn't here to kill Red Hulk. Not yet. He was here to break the city, the Black King's push. While Red Hulk was locked with the White King, the Black King smashed through the central barricade, his army flooding into the heart of the city. Tanks fired point blank, but the Black King shrugged off the blasts, his armored limb tearing through steel like paper. General Hassan's voice screamed in Red Hulk's earpiece. "They've breached Sector 3. We're losing ground." The rooftop trap. Red Hulk broke away from the White King, leaping onto a nearby rooftop to get a better view. That's when he saw it. A group of serum-enhanced apes scaling the tallest building in the sector, carrying barrels of some glowing red liquid. It wasn't until one of the barrels slipped and cracked open that he realized what it was. Explosives. The Black King wasn't just here to conquer the city. He was here to level it. The race against time. Red Hulk tore across the rooftops, smashing through the ape demolition team. But as he hurled the last barrel into the street below, a shadow fell over him. The White King landed hard, the rooftop cracking beneath his weight. "You can't save them all," he said. "Watch me," Red Hulk growled. They clashed again, their fight tearing chunks from the building. The moment of doubt. For a split second, Red Hulk saw something in the White King's eyes. Hesitation. His strike slowed, his gaze flicked toward the civilians fleeing below. "Why are you doing this?" Red Hulk demanded. The White King's jaw tightened. "Because if I don't stand with him, I die with you." The turning of the tide. A massive explosion rocked the street below. The Black King had reached the central power station. Flames roared into the sky, plunging half the city into darkness. In the chaos, the White King leapt away, disappearing into the smoke. Red Hulk stood on the rooftop, chest heaving, watching the city burn. This wasn't just a battle anymore. It was the beginning of the end. The city was still burning when the rain came. It hissed against the flames, turning smoke into steam, cloaking the streets in a ghostly fog. From a roof of the battered command center, Red Hulk watched the skyline, jagged silhouettes of broken towers against a blood-red sunset. The Black King Kong's army had pulled back for now, but Red Hulk knew it wasn't retreat. It was preparation, the wounds of war. Inside the command center, the air was thick with the smell of antiseptic and blood. Soldiers lay on stretchers, medics moving between them. General Hassan stood over a map of the city, his face grim. "We lost half our armor in the first wave," Hassan said. "If they hit us again with the same force, we won't hold." Red Hulk's voice was low but steady. "They won't hit us the same way. They'll hit harder." The impossible plan. Red Hulk traced a finger along the map, stopping in a narrow industrial zone on the city's edge. "Here, the old steel foundry. It's the only choke point left between the jungle and the city center. If we can lure them there, we can trap them." Hassan frowned. "Trap them with what? We don't have enough firepower left." Red Hulk's eyes narrowed. "We don't need firepower. We need the river." The plan was insane. Flood the foundry district by breaching the old water reservoir above it, turning the battlefield into a death trap. But it would only work if the enemy could be forced into that exact spot. The White King's doubt. Far from the city, in the Black King's jungle camp, the White King Kong sat alone on a fallen tree. The sounds of the army's preparations echoed around him, sharpening weapons, mixing serum, the low growl of beasts ready for war. Sura approached, her silver fur catching the torchlight. "You're quiet." "I'm thinking," the White King replied. "About what? The city? Or the Red One?" The White King's gaze hardened. "About the cost of winning." The Black King's weapon. In the center of the camp, Dr. Varek unveiled his creation, a massive steel cylinder, its surface etched with strange markings, glowing faintly from within. "This," Varek announced, "is the Titan Pulse. One detonation will send a shockwave through the city, collapsing every building within a mile." The Black King's grin was pure hunger. "Then tomorrow, we end them all." The White King's jaw tightened. He had agreed to conquer the city, but this was slaughter. The messenger. That night, as the camp slept, a lone figure slipped through the shadows. It was Turok, a young ape once loyal to the White King before the betrayal. He found Red Hulk in the ruins of a collapsed building. "He's going to destroy the city," Turok said. "Not conquer it, destroy it. And the White King, he's not as loyal to him as you think." Red Hulk's eyes narrowed. "Then tell him this. If he wants to save what's left of his honor, he'll meet me at the foundry at dawn." The night before, the rain stopped just before midnight. The city lay in uneasy silence, broken only by the distant rumble of the jungle. Red Hulk stood alone in the foundry, the massive steel beams casting long shadows in the moonlight. He could feel the weight of what was coming. Somewhere out there, the White King was making his choice. The choice. In the jungle, the White King stood at the edge of the camp, watching the Black King's army prepare to march. His hands clenched into fists. Sura approached. "When the city falls, you'll have your throne." The White King didn't look at her. A throne built on ashes is just a grave. The march to doom. At dawn, the Black King's army moved like a black tide toward the city. The Titan Pulse was carried at the center, guarded by the strongest warriors. The White King walked beside it, his face unreadable. The foundry showdown begins. Red Hulk was waiting. The moment the first ape stepped into the foundry district, the trap began to close. Explosives hidden in the side streets detonated, collapsing buildings and forcing the army deeper into the choke point. From the rooftops, human snipers opened fire. Tanks rolled in from side alleys, cutting off escape routes. And then, the White King stepped forward. The standoff. The Black King roared. "Kill him." But the White King didn't move toward Red Hulk. Instead, he turned to face the Black King. This ends here. The Black King's eyes narrowed. So the traitor betrays again. The Foundry District was a graveyard of steel and shadow. Rain slicked the rusted beams, dripping into the black water pooled on the cracked concrete floor. Above, the sky churned with storm clouds, lightning flashing like the gods themselves were watching. At the far end of the district, the Black King Kong stood with his army, the Titan pulse looming behind him, a monstrous steel cylinder glowing with a deadly red light. Beside him, the White King Kong stood still, his golden eyes fixed on Red Hulk. The first move. The Black King's roar shattered the silence. Kill them both. The army surged forward. Serum-enhanced apes leapt from the shadows, their claws scraping sparks from the steel floor. Red Hulk charged, smashing through the first wave like a living battering ram. The White King moved too, but not toward Red Hulk. He turned on the Black King's warriors, tearing through them with brutal precision. The Black King's eyes narrowed. So, the traitor betrays again. The clash of kings. The Black King lunged at the White King, their massive bodies colliding with a sound like thunder. Steel beams bent under the force of their blows. Red Hulk didn't wait. He joined the fight, slamming into the Black King's side. For the first time, the two kings and the Hulk fought together, but only for a heartbeat. The Black King's armored limbs smashed into Red Hulk's ribs, sending him crashing into a wall. The White King roared and tackled the Black King, driving him toward the Titan pulse. The countdown begins. From the shadows, Dr. Varek emerged, his hand on a control panel. You think you can stop me? The pulse is already armed. 5 minutes, and this city is dust. Red Hulk's eyes locked on the device. Then we end this in 4. The war in the Foundry. The battle became chaos. Red Hulk fought like a storm, his fists breaking bones, his roars shaking the steel walls. The White King matched him blow for blow against the Black King, their strikes sending shockwaves through the floor. Overhead, human snipers fired down from the catwalks, picking off the Black King's soldiers. Explosions lit the shadows as Hassan's demolition teams set charges along the Foundry walls. The turning point. The Black King caught the White King by the throat, lifting him off the ground. You could have ruled beside me. The White King's voice was a growl. I'd rather die free. With a surge of strength, he broke the Black King's grip and slammed his head into a steel beam. The sacrifice. The Titan pulse's glow intensified. 2 minutes left. Dr. Varek tried to reach it, but Red Hulk intercepted him, hurling him into a vat of molten steel. The White King looked at the device, then at Red Hulk. If we destroy it here, the blast will kill us all. Red Hulk's jaw tightened. Then we take it out of here. The White King nodded once, and then, without warning, he grabbed the Titan pulse, hoisting it onto his back. Get them out, he roared. Before Red Hulk could stop him, the White King charged toward the far wall, smashing through steel and concrete, disappearing into the storm outside. The end of the Black King. The Black King roared in fury and lunged after him, but Red Hulk blocked his path. Their final clash was brutal, primal, and short. Red Hulk drove the Black King into ground, his fists raining down until the jungle tyrant lay still. The last roar. Outside, in the distance, a blinding flash lit the horizon. The ground shook, and a deep, rolling boom echoed through the city. The Titan pulse was gone. So was the White King. Aftermath. Days later, the city began to rebuild. The jungle was quiet again. Red Hulk stood at the edge of the forest, staring into the green shadows. A faint movement caught his eye, a massive white shape watching from the trees. The White King stepped into the light, battered but alive. They locked eyes. No words were spoken. Then the White King turned and vanished into the jungle, his silhouette fading into the mist. Red Hulk smiled faintly. Stay free, King.